Check 1 2 1 2 1 2. Can y'all hear me out there? If y'all can hear me out there, you see what it say on the screen. So I don't have the time to really go through this because I got to get to this. Yes, indeed. Hit that like button on your way in. This is something special for me personally. We gonna make y'all feel the vibes tonight because this is big, 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 big. This was on my interview bucket list. I told y'all 3 people I want to interview. Ralph McDaniels, Marley Marl, and Pete Rock. Pete Rock is done. So I got 2 left. After tonight, I got 1 left. So without any further ado, I present to you, you already know who it is. Introduce yourself to the people.
Uncle Ralph McDaniels, Video Music Box. What up, brother?
Yo, it's funny hearing your voice outside of hearing your voice in the Video Music Box realm. Did you realize that your voice would become famous one day?
Nah, actually, well, you know when I realized it is like when you're talking to someone and they don't know who you are, and then your voice, they hear your voice and they go, "Oh, you're the guy from Video Music Box." Yeah.
So
cool.
Do you know how much I copied you?
No.
Like well, I just want to say what you did for the youth was special, and I don't even think you did it intentionally. You was just doing your job, but it ended up happening because at this particular time in our life, growing up in the 90s, Brooklyn, it was a lot of stuff to get into, but I would stop fighting because Video Music Box was coming on. So we was trying to fight and do what we got to do, but you got to get home by 3:30. So I'm going to catch y'all. If y'all out here at 4:30, but you did a lot for the culture in the sense of we had to be in the house.
Yes, sir.
And you know the house is the safest place for some than being in the street. So I always thank you for that. And plus, a lot of people always say hot tracks and all that, but you was there too, man. Like, they might credit MTV. You know, shout out to everybody who did their thing. Fab Five Freddy, your MTV Raps, Rap City. But you was there too. So Video Music Box, what was the concept behind that? No pun intended, because it was classic concepts also. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Yeah. So what was it? How did that all come about?
I was working at this station, and at the end of the station, it would say public broadcasting, and I was like, well, I don't see no black people, and we part of the public. When can we get a shot, on the air? And I was into the music. I come from the early days of DJing out in the clubs and in the parks and all that kind of stuff. And so I just took what I was doing there, with the music, and found some videos of, some of these artists performing. This is before, they was making music videos for every artist. And whatever I could find, if I couldn't find it, I went to wherever they was performing at, and I shot, content of them, and I put it on my show. And by word of mouth, the streets just found me and was like, yo, this is the hottest thing. Like 3:30, got to be home to, see what's going to be the latest videos.
So was it U31 first?
It was U31. So people don't know, back before we have cable and all of these different channels.
The U channel.
You had the U channel, which we still don't know what that meant. But, it was just this channel that there was just a couple of stations on there. And one of the stations was this channel, was the city TV station, New York City TV station, was on channel 31. And we came on at 3:30, and that's when people found us.
So the switch from 31 to 25, did that hurt the movement a little bit?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was,
break that down, because I remember it was tough for us. We was like, where is it? But tell the people what happened and why did it happen?
Well, at the time, Giuliani was the mayor of New York, and he started getting rid of assets of, the city. And one of them was Channel 31. And, and they were like, okay, we're going to sell the station. But they never even really sold it. It just sat there. It's still to this day, there's nothing on it. It exists, but there's nothing there. And some people, said Giuliani hated hip hop, but then that's why they got rid of you. And I was well, I wasn't the only show on that channel, it wasn't all hip hop. But yeah, that was a tough one because, you know how it is when you now have to go to other people and asked them, like, hey, can I do it over here? And I was like, I'd already went to MTV, years ago, and they didn't do it. And by that time now, Yo is on it. Yo is rolling.
Whoa.
Oh, no,
MTV,
Yo was off by that time.
Yeah,
actually.
MTV rejected you.
Yeah, no, they didn't want to do it because they thought that it was too early for hip hop. When I went to them in like, it was 85 because it was right after the Fresh Fest. I saw the Fresh Fest in Long Island in 1985, and it was all different types of people. It wasn't just black people. It was Latino, white, Asian, and I was like, yo, this is going to cross over, and it's time. So I went to MTV. I had a friend of mine, and I said, yo, I want to do the show. What's up? And I showed him the tapes, and he was like, nah, not going to happen. MTV's not doing that yet,
Wow.
And, in 85, they're just barely playing Michael Jackson.
Yes.
So, it was just rock and roll on there. And I was like, I'm telling you, the youth, this is what the youth want, man. This is what's popping in the street. And yeah, but it's popping in New York, but it's not popping everywhere. I said, I don't know about that. These tours are going around and they touching these cities. I think there's enough cities to make it a viable show. And they didn't want to do it. And so, I was disappointed because I knew I was right,
He was right.
And then in 87 is when they did Yo. And so, people were like, yo, man, I know you was tight, man. Why they didn't pick you up? And I was like, I really wasn't tight. I knew it was good for the culture regardless that MTV had a show like that, because MTV was the place where people went to watch videos. So as long as they had a show on there and it was popping, I knew Freddie, I knew Ed Lover and Dr. Dre. I was like, it's all good, bro. Now I got to pay attention to them. I got to compete with them.
That was easy work. only thing I would say that they had a little bit more is that they had a budget, and they was able to go. Yeah, they had a budget, and they was able to travel. You know what I'm saying? And they had a camera crew opposed to you being your own in-house everything. So shout out. Is that something you made up?
Yeah, well, people tell me that Mr. Magic said it also. Now, for people who don't know who Mr. Magic is, he was one of the first guys on the radio at WBLS here in New York with a hip hop show.
Yes.
And I remember Magic and I worked at Hot 97 later in our careers in New York. And Magic said, man, you really took the whole shout out thing to a whole nother level, Mm-hmm. And so I guess he, and I didn't know that he was saying it at that time when I was talking to him. I didn't know that he was saying that on the radio because I didn't really listen to the radio like that. Mm-hmm. But I knew that, he recognized that what Video Music Box did was shout out. Nobody was saying that, then all of a sudden you started hearing everybody say shout out in New York. And then next thing you know, you go other countries and they're saying shout out. Now it's a regular part of American language to say the word, shout out this, shout out that. But every time you hear somebody say that, that really was popularized by Video Music Box.
How did you come up with that?
It was just something that we knew it was important to get people in the community to kind of interact with the show.
Gotcha.
And so I said, yo, you want to do a shout out? And they were like, yeah. And so every time we went to the club, they didn't really care about the artists. They just wanted to do shout outs. Mm-hmm. And they were like, yo, they would be lined up. So like, yo, Ralph, when you going to do the shout out part? And I was like, oh, y'all saw that.
No, it became big. It became big. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you capturing all this footage. You're putting on this show. I always want to know, what was the submission process like for artists to get their videos on it? Would they give you a VCR tape? Like, what was it?
Yeah, they would come with those old VHS tapes and big tapes that we used to get from the major labels. And they would come and bring those tapes to me and then be like, play my joint. And, back then everybody didn't have a video. So, in the early days. So, the chances of you getting played was high because we needed more videos. We needed more music videos. So, you could come to me with, rapping on the corner in front of the bodega, and I'm like, okay, that's good. We're gonna play it. Everything played.
Did you realize too also, like, what you were capturing at the time? Now you look back in hindsight, like, yo, that was what. But in the moment, because you got Big Daddy Kane freestyling, you introduced us to EPMD, and I will say this, we're gonna get into that later. It came full circle with Nas doing the documentary because you did his EPK, and we wouldn't have known who he was if it wasn't for you. That was very, very important because I didn't know what an EPK was until I saw that. But I remember watching this kid named Nas, and then I hear, "The world is yours," chords, and I was like, oh nah, this dude is nice. That's it. Cause we heard Halftime, we heard it from Zebrahead, but when you did the EPK, that was it. Also, we gotta before we get into that, I want to tell the world about your babies. Who comes from your camp? Big time video directors. Tell the people, because I don't think they know.
Yeah, well, we have a bunch of folks that came through, but probably the most well-known is Hype Williams. So Hype is my, at the time, like he worked in the art department with us. And, so that what that means is like when we're building sets, he's the dude that's painting them and, constructing it and whatever in a studio. And then one day he told me, yo, man, I want to start directing. And I was like, all right. And so between myself and my partner, Lionel Martin, the vid kid, we gave him his first couple of videos. And, there usually were videos that people wanted us to do. And I was like, no, we got this kid named Hype. He's nice with it. He got a vision. I think you're going to enjoy it. And then, the people got familiar with him and they were like, oh, okay, this dude is nice. Yes.
I remember I think it was him. He did a Flavor in Your Ear cut video. He took a lot of B-roll and made a Flavor in Your Ear video. Did he do that?
He might have.
He did that. Yep.
Yeah, he might have.
Because I remember you said because I think you called him your intern at the time. He's like, yeah, my intern did this video. And it was like when Big was like, my style you admiring. Somebody did Champagne and all. I remember because I was a vivid watcher. But who else came through there? It was some other directors that came out there too.
Oh, so many, man. What comes from Hype is, of course, Little X. Zodiac Fish Grease, who's, still with us today. He works with Belle Biv DeVoe, and he's awesome. He's done some awesome Onyx videos and Belle Biv DeVoe videos and what you call them. It's funny because I meet people all the time and they say, I worked on your set. And I was like, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that you worked with us. And they go like, yeah. No, I worked on your sets. And people from across the universe, I can think about people that are running channels right now that indirectly came from Video Music Box,
yes.
And I'll be like, I remember that name when they was a young, guy or girl. And, it was the place to be because if you was into visuals, and you wanted to shoot stuff and create content, it was the best place to be because we were doing something every week and you could either watch us and learn or eventually get yourself a camera and start doing it with us. And, and that was important. It wasn't just about the music to me. It was also telling the story of what was going on in the hood, like real stories, like, whatever it may be, there's gun violence going on uptown or there's this going on. We wanted to tell a balance of the music as well as, positive information, to keep you out of the street.
If it wasn't for you, we probably wouldn't have known who EPMD was.
Yes, sir.
Early Rex in Effect with Let's Do It Again. I'm not talking about Rump Shaker, the early Rex in Effect. I think one of them passed away, right?
Yeah.
Let's Do It Again. So much. So the club footage became what Video Music Box was known for. How did you select when you was going out to get footage? Because you was heavy in the ARC and the reggae clubs too. You know what I'm saying? How did you select when you was going out to get footage?
In the beginning, we started doing events and people would hire me to host it.
Oh.
And we would videotape it. And then we realized that, these promoters was jerking us. They was getting a lot of money off of us.
Get a lot of exposure, right? Yeah.
We were like, yo, hold up. Everybody's coming for us and we getting a couple $100 and these dudes is G'ing off,
Mm-hmm.
And so we said, we're going to start giving our own parties. And so we started giving our own parties and we picked places like you mentioned. There was this club in Brooklyn called the Arc and everybody was scared to go to Brooklyn. It was in Flatbush. Yeah. This is late 80s. This is early 90s. Every person that's in them streets is in that club, you know, and people were scared to go to the Arc, but we brought Mary J. Blige there for the first time. We brought Diddy there for the first time. People like, Diddy's not going there. Mary's not coming there. I'm like, yo, I'm telling you, they coming. And they showed up. And it meant a lot, like in the documentary, my man B says, it meant a lot for the community because people believe now that, like these artists cared about them, like even though they were just coming to do a show, it just showed that the community had value. Like, yo, okay, they coming right to our hood. Ralph's bringing these people every week. Who he gonna bring next week? So that was big.
You was in the built Biltmore Ballroom, all over, Home Base, the Muse, everything, because that's a little bit of my era. And that matter of fact, I don't know if you remember this. I was in a group called The Little Bastards. You remember that?
Yes.
That was my group.
Yes.
And you did the Shantae dance to this video.
Right.
Beast,
right.
Yeah, Beast was the and I actually, I'm in the video of like, yo, why you put me in the video long? But I'm in there for like 1 second. You know what I'm saying? You could flash us in there. But that was done at Home Base, which was Kilimanjaro at one point.
Yes.
But that was before I could come outside.
The same day we shot that video, I shot Black Moon.
Which one?
Got the props.
Wow. So you shot that early because the dance of this was at night, or which one was it reversed?
We shot the Shantae's video in the app like in the early evening. We finished around like 10 o'clock, and I told the guys from Black Moon, I said, yo, meet me on 14th Street and we'll shoot your video. I still got 2 rolls of film left from the Shantae video. And indirectly, Shantae's video paid for their video.
See how the culture works. So you had a lot of people with you. You had Ray DeJour later on. You had Crazy Sam. Beast was always around, and I'm missing somebody.
Beast is my guy.
Yeah. I'm missing somebody. Light skin, tough. Yeah, Tuffy. Yeah, Tuffy. Yeah, Tuffy. Yeah. But where I always want to know, how come the Vid Kid wasn't on camera later on? Because when y'all was first early on, when y'all had like a setting, sometimes he would be on camera, but then he disappeared. Whatever happened, why he wasn't on camera after a while?
So we started directing videos. When we made, in the beginning, it was just Video Music Box. And then we were like, yo, we're going to start making videos, directing them and producing them. And Lionel, Vid Kid, was the head of Classic Concept. So we started this company called Classic Concept. And I said, Lionel, you run that. I'll do the Video Music Box. Whenever we want to come back and do whatever, if you want to get on camera and do some stuff, you can do that. And, and I'll go over and produce, the videos, but you basically are running it. He's the guy. He's directing all these videos. He got the vision. And so from there, we just kind of took off quick with directing videos because people didn't know, like we had some ideas, it was like, yo, we got some good ideas. Let's do this.
There's some of the big Boys and Men videos too, Boys and Men video. And he got a video, I keep telling y'all, he did a video for Big Daddy Kane, Young, Gifted, and Black. It is a video for that. And people don't know that. It is a video for Young, Gifted, and Black. So how many tapes do you have? Give me a number, if you could.
30,000.
Ooh. How many tapes did you lose?
How many what?
How many tapes did you lose?
Oh wow, yeah, we've lost quite a few. Like I remember we had our tapes in this basement in Brooklyn, and they were down there for a while. And in fact, this is right in '98, right when the station had closed. We moved everything over there to I used to have a store in Brooklyn called Uncle Ralph's.
Yes.
And so we had them in the basement, and we didn't realize there was like one section of the basement that was like a little slant, and water had built up over there. And I went to move the tapes out of there one day, and it was like literally sitting in a puddle of like all this water. I was like, oh man, this is definitely not gonna work. So we did lose some things, yeah.
So where's the legendary footage of Jay-Z and Michael Jackson at Summer Jam? Where is that?
The infamous, we have that in a special street TV vault that is under wraps.
So we never gonna see it? Somebody gotta buy that, right? Like that's right. Where is the Jay?
We'll make that into an NFT. How about that?
Yeah, you have to. So did you have the is that the night Jay-Z dissed Nas and Mobb Deep, same night?
It was at the same night? I'm not sure. I don't even remember. All I remember is that Jay didn't talk on camera, and I was like, Jay, you got to talk. And he was like, no, I'm going to let everybody else talk.
Oh, that's that infamous clip that everybody see. Yeah, it became a meme.
Like, he's just going like this, moving his hands. But I have him explaining it. It was supposed to be in the documentary.
Okay.
But it didn't make the cut. And so I have him on camera explaining that moment and that time, that night. So pretty soon we'll put that out.
Did you say Jay-Z didn't make the cut or something?
Just that part.
Okay, I'm about to say,
stop it.
What are we doing? Hip hop. It's now universal. It's now worldwide. You had the vision, possibly, that it could be this. How wrong was some of the people who was telling you, come on, man, you're gonna have to do something else, you have to get a job, how wrong was some of the people?
They were absolutely wrong. Like nobody believed, anytime you work in the arts, filmmaking, whatever it is, making music, culture, people look at you like, nah, you need to get a job, a 9 to 5. And, I was never into that. That I just couldn't imagine. I'd done it for, a little bit when I was young. And I was like, nah, man, I just can't do this. I got to create some stuff. We creative people. Things come from us,
Mm-hmm.
And so from people that I work with, from family members to girlfriends, was like, nah, you need to get a job, you get that new car you be thinking about, because, when you in the arts, it be up and down, man. And, it's tough, but you got to have a space and you got to have people around you that believe, and that's what I think, was what kept me going. And, and then, we wanted to win, once we saw other people winning, we was watching cats, like, okay, they did it. So we can do this, dude. Like, there's a possibility that this could happen. So that was the motivation, it was just like, we want to win, and then, for me, it was always about, like I told the story, like and I didn't realize it at first till I really started looking at this documentary and started putting it together. A lot of the guys that work with me were all friends of mine that had gotten, our team was different. When people saw us shooting or people saw us rolling up into the places that people wouldn't go, like we were in Jersey and places that people never went. We was out there with,
Naughty by Nature back then. It was because they used to be like 100 deep. Yeah, the zoo, yeah.
Yeah, and those were our people. Those were our fam. Like it wasn't, I didn't even look at them in any way like other people looked at them, because we were just treating each other, like men. It was all good. It was all love. Certain areas in Connecticut, like it was crazy, but we always respected people and showed them in a good light, like a positive light. We didn't want to make people look bad and, and do anything like that. That was never, my intent. My intent was to make everybody win. Just if we winning, you winning.
It's funny because our birthday is 2 days apart too. You're the 27th.
Oh,
I'm the 25th. I'm the 25th. You're the 27th. And February Pisces are special because you can only be a Pisces in February for like 8 days, 9 days rather. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So the thing that always tripped me out with you is that why wasn't the programming on 7 days a week opposed to 5? But why was that like that?
I think that we just needed a day to get our heads together and wrap around it. Because even back in the beginning, when we said we were going to do, like the station said, can you do 6 days a week? And I said yes, but we didn't even have enough content to be on 6 days a week. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I wish I didn't say that, but we figured it out. So that's why, you might see, the Caribbean videos, the R&B videos.
I didn't like Tasty Tuesdays. I ain't gonna lie. I was too young for that. I did not like.
Right. We was reaching at that point, we was reaching. And so we played the house music, all of these different scenes. Like in Jersey, it was strictly house music when you went to Newark and, and Patterson and all these places. And, the kids was into hip hop, but they really was into house music. They wanted to dance. And so it was a different vibe over there, but it was the same people, at the end of the day. So we mixed it up and was able to get in 6 days. Well, it was really 5 original days, and then we had to repeat on Saturdays. But, that was enough to be like, okay, that's good enough.
So coming up, there's so much we could build on, but I want to talk about the documentary. When I went on Drink Champs, my episode of Drink Champs, I made sure when they was talking about like who influenced you, in every interview I've ever done where I was being interviewed, I've always said Ralph McDaniels was the one who inspired me to be in media, because now everybody got a podcast,
right,
which I don't like personally, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't think everybody knows what they're doing. And I think it's more personalities than it is actual journalism, you know what I'm saying? And people are selling their show off for who they are, but they don't know the right questions or, and I wanted to ask you that, how do you feel about media today? Because I don't like to say you're a part of urban media or hip hop media. You're one of the founders of media as we know it. How do you feel about where it's at right now?
I think that the freedom has been given to people through YouTube and other outlets to get this thing on the road. As far as, podcasts and, and interviews and things. And I think that, like you said, I think it's kind of oversaturated. There's a lot of people that just, like, sometimes I go on links and, based on the title, and it has nothing to do.
Clickbait, yeah.
And I'm like, what am I watching right now? And why? And they just consistently do it, like the same people. And I'll be like, come on, son, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Or, you weren't there, and you're making up information, that you heard from like back in the days, I couldn't make up today. I can't just make up no information, especially on like street life.
But you got integrity though, so it's different. You understand what I'm saying? You one of the founders. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm still out there in them streets, and and I know a lot of people, and sometimes people try to, get me to say something about somebody that I know, and I'm like, nah, fam, I'm not even doing that. Like, that's not gonna happen, because even if I do know something, I'm not telling you.
Yeah, so, yeah. Facts.
That ain't gonna happen. So that, these things it's entertainment. We come from the real side where we was like real ones, like, like
somebody really get hurt because we had to be outside with it.
We had to be outside. I see these people all the time. I tell people in the beginning, hip hop was like 500 people. And my man told me the other day, he said, it's still only 500 people. And I was like, you're right, because we have that integrity with each other. Like, and also you got to remember that when hip hop first started, it was a lot. I think Mike Tyson said this in the documentary. There was a lot of street cats that was, involved in this, because they saw the potential of it, and they liked being around the rappers, and, and they wanted to be down. So you had a lot of like some of the early promoters, they wasn't really promoters. They was just dudes with money, and they, they gave a party. They didn't care if they made money at the party or not, because they had money, So that was the kind of lifestyle you was around. It was, you were privileged to be in those situations. So you better treat it right.
Yeah, because you had Bentleys, you had places that I couldn't even go because you had to be dressed a certain way, and you had to have money. You know what I'm saying? You had to have money. And it wasn't the rappers. It was the street guys that was really running. And they would hire the rappers to come entertain them.
Right. There's footage of, I used to DJ at this place called Encore in Queens. And, there's footage of like, Fat Cat and, and them cats, Supreme, performing, on stage, and they have, Melly Mel and all of them performing. That was like that. I used to DJ in there, and that was like a regular thing on my nights. Southside, was all up in there, and it was ladies' night. They would have that was the first time I seen cats buy the whole bar out.
Yeah.
And that was those dudes were the younger guys that were coming up, and I come up with, like the Furtado brothers, we went to high school together. We were a little bit more reserved, or, in what they were doing, you didn't see them out there as much, but that Fat Cat and Supreme, that was like, that was flamboyant. Like, cars was double parked, everybody was over on that side. The bottles was all over there. It was different.
So you have the footage of the Kane party where all the MCs rap. Did you film that?
Yeah. You talking about the movie premiere when Jay-Z,
Just Ice, everybody rapped on this. I know it was Kane party.
Yeah. The one that I have it was for Posse. It was the soundtrack for Posse, and Kane brought out Jay, Biz Markie, Busta Rhymes, Sauce Money, a couple other people I can't remember, but that one was at the spot on the Ritz.
Yeah, I remember the Ritz. Yeah,
it was like in the Midtown, and that was an interesting night, because the thing about Biz Markie is, like, Biz Markie would go in the crowd and hang out and see who's in the house. Like, he would see like, oh, South Jamaica's up in here. Oh, South Uptown Harlem is in here. Oh, and he knew everybody's name. And so he would just get on the mic and start calling out people's name. And that's how he would get the crowd. And so Jay and them didn't know that technique. So Biz destroyed everybody that night.
Nobody wanted to perform after Biz anyway, especially when Just a Friend came out. He was the top biller when Just a Friend came out. He was So when people pass away and you have this footage, do you realize how important the footage becomes, and people really want to see this footage now? So I'm pretty sure you have a lot of Heavy D footage. You got Biggie footage we never saw before. how important does the footage become, and do people say, yo, man, I need that footage?
Yeah, it has become because of social media and because of, people just want to see visuals. And so we go like, okay, let's pull up something that hasn't been seen before. And it's kind of like, it's kind of weird sometimes because, like, especially with Big and Pop, like, it's like that whole, their death has been exploited in so many ways with the amount of documentaries.
Oversaturated, their death. They didn't even get a chance to rest in peace to me, truthfully.
Yeah, man. And every time, like, some Hollywood producer calls me up and is like, hey, I heard you got Biggie footage. I'm like now I'm like, nah. Or I'm like, what is this about? Like, what are you doing that we don't know? And they usually tell you whatever, and then it's the same story, some conspiracy theory or whatever. And and it's corny. So, we try to, keep the integrity of the footage, in the right perspective, and not, go too crazy. Like, we have a lot of Aaliyah footage. Some of it is in the documentary.
Wow.
And Aaliyah was just a great soul. We directed a video for her, and so we became personal friends with her. And so when she came to New York, she was checking for us, and who knew that this person was going to pass away, and and at such a young age. But she was a great person, and she just enjoyed hanging out with us, and that's why we had the relationship.
Guru footage, you had Guru footage, you had I remember Guru footage. You had a lady on stage rhyming with Guru who went on to be the Lady of Rage, but we didn't know that back then,
right?
Because she was rapping to Big Daddy Kane, "Dance with the Devil" instrumental.
Right.
My memory. I'm telling you, she was rhyming to "Dance with the Devil," and her name was Rockin' Robin back then. Remember?
Wow.
And then she went on to be Lady of Rage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Lady of Rage used to be in New York. I guess maybe she lived in New York.
She lived in New York. She lived in Chungking. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
She lived in Chungking's studio. She lived
in Chungking's studio?
Yes.
She was for real, because Chungking was the hottest studio.
Chungking was the hottest spot. Yeah. So, why 5 Minutes of Funk? That's what I always want to know, because that song, no matter where you hear it at now, that is Video Music Box theme. Why that song?
When I first heard 5 Minutes of Funk, it wasn't even out in New York yet. They used to put music out in Europe, and they would call them imports.
Yes.
And it would say
very
import,
expensive, very expensive too.
It costs more than the regular New York version of it. And so, I would look for the imports, because as a DJ, I try to have a little advantage on somebody play a version of that maybe they didn't hear before, because sometimes the mix would be different on the record. And so when I got the Houdini record, because they had this song called Haunted House of Rap, and then they had another joint, Mr. Magic's Wand. So those both were some cool records. And I was like, when I saw the 5 Minutes of Funk, I was like, what's this? So I put it on, and I was like, yo, this is crazy. So I had it, and right around that time is when I'm starting to figure out what are you going to use as the theme song for Video Music Box. And so I flipped over 5 Minutes of Funk, and there was an instrumental on it. And I was like, oh, we could use this. And I used it. And, and back then, you can't just use somebody's music.
Yeah, I used the hell out of it.
Right. And we just used it. And, and the label was like, okay, it's cool, because they were trying to promote Houdini. Even though Houdini was from Brooklyn, they recorded all their records in London. So they were really trying to, like, Houdini's in London half the year. And they were like, we need to promote, Houdini. And so, Jalil said to me, he said, yo, man, like recently, he said, yo, that's one of our most downloaded songs. And it's only because of you.
Wow.
Because they didn't promote that as much, but you played it every day. So everybody knew it. So it just shows that, the DJs and video shows and things like that can help break an artist, without, the traditional ways of having to, pay off somebody, the payola and all that stuff. It was like mutual, we both got something from it, and so it worked for us.
The power of VMB. So also you had legendary footage of the Jive Music Showcase.
Yes.
Which has an early, the star actually was Kool Moe Dee.
He was the headliner.
He was the headliner, but you had this little mid-known guy named The Fresh Prince, who went on to be a big movie star. Jazzy Jeff killed the turntables that night. KRS-One. Wasn't Steady B there too, right?
Steady B was there, and so was Cool C, who was in the crowd.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
now looking back, look how legendary that is. Because I remember the Tyson fight was coming on, and Kumo D was like, "Is that Tyson fight on? Yeah, yo, I gotta go." And the record skipped. Remember, he broke the record live.
Broke the record.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I remember everything. I remember because we were glued to the television. Also, you introduced us to Richard Green, also in Bedford Avenue, the youth collective, right across the street from Mega Evans.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I remember that music too. What was that like? Because you did a lot of community work too. So it wasn't always about hip hop. You were definitely going in the community, capturing things and putting it out for the people. What was that like? And why did you do that?
I remember the first time I met Mr. Richard Green, and that's in Crown Heights, and Brooklyn. And Richard Green used to have a storefront, like he was doing community stuff in the community. And I was shooting a video for X-Clan across the street because there used to be a bowling alley there, and it was a mural of all different historical Black folks. And we were shooting a video, and Richard Green yelled out the door, like, "Put some money in the community. Stop using that backdrop. Fix the." And he just kept yelling. I was like, "Yo, bro." So I walked over. I was like, "Yo, dog, like, what's going on? Like, what's happening? I hear you, but I really don't understand. Just come over and talk to me." And that's how we met. And he showed me what he was doing in the community. And you remember, for folks that may not remember, when they had the riots in Crown Heights with the, Blacks and Jews, he was the person that, the city was like, Richard Green can fix this. And, and that's how they worked out, with the Hasidic Jews, and they worked out whatever they need to work out. Because there was a lot of, indifferences in that community, but he became very important to the community, and making sure that, the community, they need him more now because Crown Heights is hot right now. Crown Heights is hot.
Did you ever think the gangs would take over New York the way it did? Because you're from a different era where it was more homegrown gangs, but now it's gangs that's from other regions. Did you ever think this would happen?
No, I didn't believe it. Because I've been to LA, and I've seen Crips and Bloods in LA. And I, I was like, this will never happen in New York.
Yeah, we used to say that. What? Jerry curls with rags? We ain't doing. But then,
no, I didn't think so. But I knew it happened in Newark because I in East Orange, because I had gone out and hung out with Naughty by Nature, and it was there. It was for real there, and I was like, wow, okay, they have real. So it was possible. Yeah, it was possible.
So, this documentary, how did this documentary come about? And before we get into that, where can they see the documentary right now?
The documentary is showing right now on Showtime, which it's cool, but it's not like a stream. So, or a link you can get. So, actually, I do understand you can watch it through Hulu. Somebody told me that today.
Okay.
And it's called You're Watching Video Music Box. I've been working on this for 10 years, but really seriously in like the last 5 years, and trying to get the story out of Video Music Box and, and my story. And so we finally connected with Mass Appeal through a guy named Sasha Jenkins, who did the Wu-Tang documentary and a number of other documentaries on the LA riots, and Fresh Dressed on style and stuff coming up in the clothing. And Sasha was my man. I helped him out on those things with some footage, some good content. And he said, look, man, I'm going over here. I think I can get this deal. And the guy at Showtime grew up in Jersey City and said, yo,
he already knows.
I grew up watching video music. He says, really? Video Music Box? He said, I'd be interested in seeing what that looks like. And then Nas jumped in because he's part of Mass Appeal. He's partners with them. And first he was just the executive producer. And then he came on and he said, yo, man, I want to direct this. And I was like, you don't have time to direct. You Nas, you out doing shows, you being Nas, and he was like, nah, I'm going to take the time. I want to make sure we get this right. And, like Nas is my little brother, but and he's the big bro though. He is that dude. And I said to him, I said, yo, man, you gonna make me shed a thug tear. Yeah. What you doing, bro? And he was like, nah, Ralph, it's important that we get this culture, this history right. And I said, all right, let's go. So that was when I knew I was in a good place. I was like, if he put his name on it, it's gonna be right.
So the documentary, for the people who didn't see it, what are some of the things that they could expect to see in it?
We talk about a lot of different eras. We start in the 80s, We talk about, how, I'm originally from Brooklyn. I'm originally from Bed-Stuy, and then my family moved to Queens. And, my parents was like, oh, this is going to be great. We got a house now. And it was terrible in the beginning because it was racist.
What part of Queens did you move to?
Queens Village.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So Queens Village they call it Shadyville now.
Yeah.
And, and it was tough. It was like, they didn't want us there. White people definitely didn't want no black people coming there. And eventually, the community turned over and is predominantly Black and Caribbean right now. But, those stories are the stories of, of our people moving and doing things, and trying to get a better life, because, you wanted more space. When I was in Bed-Stuy, I lived on Hancock Street. And it was in Sumner, and it was like, it was crowded, it was a lot going on in those blocks. And so, we just wanted to get a better life. So that part of the story is in there. The whole thing with the sale of the station, people thought that they didn't know why you couldn't find Video Music Box. So nobody.
I remember we was like, where's that? Like, we didn't understand. And I don't even know how we end up getting a hold of it again. I think we was just turning channels and was like, yo, VMB is on 25. It's on 25. And then y'all had to switch the time slot and a lot of stuff too.
Time slot, so it was late a lot. At night. We still late at night.
Yeah. So for the record, before we get into that, Video Music Box still comes on.
Yeah. It comes on in New York on NYC TV, which is a similar station, no commercials. So we get to do whatever we want, play the videos, do the community stuff. We come on Thursday nights, a late night at 2:30 in the morning, and Saturdays at 12 midnight.
Okay.
And so, and we play predominantly some of the classic stuff, but we do play the new stuff because there's a kid at home who can't go out and he wants to see, something that he's familiar with. So, we play the J. Cole's, the Kendrick Lamar's, the top, artists that, that are out there. I don't play a lot of, the crazy stuff, the talking about killing each other.
The drill, you didn't get into the drill.
Yeah, I can't do that. And plus, it's a broadcast station, like it's on TV.
Oh yeah,
so it would be edited up. You wouldn't even understand what they were saying.
Yeah. So the documentary, 10 years in the making, but 5 years on the last buckle down. Watching your work, and for how long have you been doing this?
It's been 38 years.
Damn.
38 years because, this is, we started in 83.
Damn.
And so it's been 38 years. The Video Music Box documentary is part of this bigger initiative called Hip Hop 50, which is going to celebrate 50 years of hip hop in 2023. And we'll be celebrating 40 years of Video Music Box.
So you've been in hip hop down there since the inception of hip hop.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, we were doing Video Music Box later, but we still, and that's another part of it is I wanted to tell the Queens and Brooklyn side. A lot of times we hear about the Bronx and we kind of know that story, but there was, activity happening in
Grandmaster
Brooklyn.
Flowers.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And, in Queensbridge and South Jamaica and Left Rack, there was a lot of stuff. In East Elmhurst, Eric B is from East Elmhurst, Kid and Play, Coogee Rap is from East Elmhurst, all of these places. Tribe Called Quest is from St. Albans, 50, of course, from Southside.
See, I'm glad that you said that, Ralph, because arguably, hip hop might have started in Brooklyn. Arguably. But because Grandmaster Flowers predates all of them.
Yeah, but I don't think that Grandmaster Flowers is what hip hop was.
So what? All right. So if we was gonna define hip hop, are we going off the break?
And the technique.
But come on, shout out to Kool Herc, who's Jamaican, right? So that's what they like to say. It started from the Jamaican. But who had more Jamaicans than Brooklyn?
I agree.
That's where the sound sets was in Brooklyn.
Yeah, Brooklyn had some mean sound. You know.
The Eastern Parkway Parade is in Brooklyn. That's where you see the sound set. So they Ron Lawrence had put out a documentary called The Founding Fathers. That's when I was like, hold up, man. Yeah, we got something to say. Shout out to the Bronx. I love the Bronx. Shout out to New York as a whole. But we we got something to say in this hip hop too. We got some stake in it, and I think it always just went to the Bronx, and like we took it and all that. Nah, we was there from the beginning too. Queens and Brooklyn.
Yeah. And I think that the Queens sound is different. I mean, and Brooklyn, you know, Brooklyn was heavy bass.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Bronx was like, you know, more the drum beats,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But when you went to those spots in Brooklyn, that bass was
that low end, that bottom, that bottom.
That bottom was kicking. And you see a lot of that, you know, in the music that came out, like Kane, you know, and Biggie and Jay, you know, that bass line was, and you know, and even Houdini, that 5 minutes of funk, when that boom,
Larry Smith
kicks in. Larry
from
Smith,
Queens,
you know,
from Queens,
that's from Queens, yeah. So we were really into that,
mm-hmm.
And made sure that sound was coming out of those records. So,
I think in the Bronx they were very melodic. They would sing a little bit. They would have routines and all that. Not that we didn't have that in Brooklyn, but Brooklyn was just, you know, very, very raw. Because when you think of Just Ice, he's like one of the first rappers cursing. You know what I'm saying? And people will always give it to everybody else, but it was Just Ice. You know what I'm saying? He was one of the early ones too. And KRS-One is really from Brooklyn.
Right. That's what I was going to say. First time I met KRS-One was on, you know, Flatbush in Beverly Road.
Wow, he was deep in the bush. Woo!
Right, we was
down there by KP somewhere.
Yeah, I was over there getting some food, and he got out of a dollar van and jumped up and said, "Ralph McDaniels," and I was like, "Yo," and he said, "My name is KRS-One." I said, Boogie Down Production? He's like, yes. I said, oh, what's up? He said, come meet my wife, Miss Melody. And I went, and Miss Melody was sitting in the car. She was, oh, nice to meet you. I said, okay. And that was right there.
Wow. Do you have any, like, unseen Scott LaRock footage or anything like that?
No, I don't. You know what's crazy? I didn't go to the Latin Quarter.
Okay.
If I did, I went once, maybe. But I didn't. So, like, a lot of that happened in the Latin Quarter and in the Harlem World.
Yes.
With Scott LaRock. So I never went, because when the Latin Quarter was jumping off, I was starting the ARC in Brooklyn.
Yes. Yeah.
So it was like the same days they would have parties at the Latin Quarter, I was doing parties at the ARC in Brooklyn.
How did you stay out of the beef in New York? Because a lot of people that's not from New York don't know that Kiss and BLS had beef, because you had Red on this side and you had Magic and Marley and them on this side. So Red is playing, which would later be the Native Tongues, but it also was Boogie Down Productions. And then BLS is playing Marley Marl and Shantae and them and Shan, and they beef. How did you stay out of that on the video side? Because you played everybody video.
I think that it was a bigger picture that I realized, like, look, y'all can have this beef, but the rest of the world or the rest of the city at that point wanted to see both of those artists or both of those camps. And so, you know, a lot of times in any kind of beef, you know, DJ beefs, or, artist beefs, you know, I have to kind of sit back and go like, nobody cares. There's somebody that doesn't care. They just love the music for both of y'all. And so we played both. You know, I wish that when I used to play The Bridge Is Over, Queensbridge was tight with me, but they had a video for it, and so Queensbridge used to be like, like Nas would even say like, yo.
Very low budget video too at that.
Right.
But it was epic.
Yeah. But KRS-One or whoever, somebody in the camp was smart enough to make a video, and Shan didn't have a video for
The Bridge.
The Bridge. And
or Kill That Noise.
Or Kill That Noise, right.
Yeah.
And so, that was, and I'm pretty sure that Shan was like, I don't think that Shan will always say, and Marley will like, they didn't take it seriously because they never had no beef with KRS-One, and KRS-One turned it into something else.
Turned into a career.
Whatever it was.
He turned it into a career. Very smart man. Yeah, very smart man. Even we see it at the verses. As far as footage, what was you filming with originally? Because, we done went from High 8 to VHS, mini DV. Now we're on these discs, and now we're on iPhones. What was your original camera?
Those big like cameras when you see people doing the news.
Yeah, wow.
Like with the battery belts.
Yeah.
It can only last for like 30 seconds. That's what we was using.
Wow. So, as far as you were editing the videos, you were doing the editing?
No, we had a team.
Okay.
We had a team of people that would edit, shoot. But you know, we would sit through the whole process.
Wow.
You know, sometimes a lot of those videos, you know, like when I did It Ain't Hard to Tell, like I did that, like it was so easy. I did that in like 10 hours. I shot it.
Damn.
You know, and then
Did y'all hear what he said? He said he did It Ain't Hard to Tell. Give us some of the classic videos though. Did you give us that? I know, like I said, you did Young, Gifted, and Black. What did you do for Boys II Men?
We did End of the Road. We did the whole first album. Yeah.
Wow.
Lionel did the whole first album. I produced that. Lionel did the whole TLC first album.
Wow.
All of the Belle Biv DeVoe videos. Man, so many iconic, you know, like early Keith Sweat, all that R&B stuff. Guy, Whitney Houston videos.
Wow.
And then I started getting into more like, I was like, well, Lionel got the pop, more, you know, high-end stuff. So I'm going to start doing a little bit of the more street stuff. And so I did the Nas, It Ain't Hard to Tell. I did Cream for Wu-Tang. I did Incarcerated Scarface for Raekwon.
The hardest hip-hop record of all time to me, personally.
Yeah.
That's hard. What was it like when you first went to Staten Island? Because, all right, we got Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx. And I think we would have gave Long Island more love than we gave Staten Island, because Long Island birthed De La Soul, Public Enemy, Rakim, EPMD. But then you got this Staten Island. All we knew was the Force MDs. But then you got these kids from there. What was it like your first trip over that ferry? At one point, you could put your car on the ferry.
Right.
And then there was a point where you go over the bridge. What was that like going there for the first time?
Well, to me, there was a lot of people from Staten Island that I knew from Brooklyn. I don't know why people from Brooklyn moved to Staten Island. But
it's true, because Staten Island, they call it Baby Brooklyn.
Okay, see, I didn't even know that. But
yeah, because I moved from Brooklyn to Staten Island when I was younger, and then back to Brooklyn. I lived in Park Hill. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So so I was familiar with, you know, some of the guys, you know, or they, you know, I knew them in some way indirectly. And then, you know, RZA was Prince Raheem first, right?
Prince Raheem, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Raheem, right. And he, you know, he had come to me, you know, with his first videos, and then he came to me with the Wu-Tang, and it was totally different, like opposite of what he had been doing prior to that. So when I was like, what is this? Like, I don't even understand. I'm looking at him like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And so he was like, yeah, he started laughing, you know, that RZA laugh. And he's like, yo, yeah. I'm doing something different now. I'm doing something different. I said, okay. And it wasn't even signed yet. It was just, you know, something that he had shot. He made the record and he said, look, can you play it? I said, all right. And I started playing it. And then Steve Rifkin from Loud Records, who I knew he was a record promoter, called me up and said, hey, man, you know, I'm looking for RZA. I want to sign that Wu-Tang. And I said, I'm pretty sure he's around. I don't know where to find him. He's in Staten Island somewhere. Just go out to Staten Island, you can find him. And then they were signed to Loud Records. And
you got a finder's fee?
Yeah, well, I didn't get a finder's fee, but he said, look, I want you to do Cream, the next single. And after Chess Boxing. And I said, and he played Cream for me, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
What was the so didn't you do a cut of Protect Your Neck too?
No.
Because I remember it was two versions of Protect Your Neck. One of them had like the Sympathy rolled on there still. You know what I'm saying?
That's the
like
one I played, yeah.
That's the one you played, yeah. Because
that was the original.
Because in back of Park Hill used to be swamps. Yes. Now it's houses. You know what I'm saying? But in back of Park Hill used to be. Did you do you did some Gangstar videos too?
Yeah, we did a lot of Gangstar videos.
Yeah.
Just to Get a Rep. Wow. Ex Girl to the Next Girl. At least 4 or 5 Gangstar videos.
And Just to Get a Rep, when I think back about the video, we didn't even know that guy in the video was going to be Little Dap of the group.
Yeah.
He was the star of the video.
I want to make sure I'm getting it right, because either we did that or Freddie or Fab Five did it.
Okay.
Yeah. So
this documentary is out now. Financially, when you do deals with Showtime and stuff like that, how is it feasible for you financially? Like, is it like a one-off situation, or is it streaming? That's what I don't understand. That
it's a one-off situation. You know, you get a budget and you get a percentage of it as the executive producer, and then from there that's it. You know, you do your thing. You get, for me, I get, you know, content licensing in it as well, but it's a one-off, and then that's it. You know, in comparison to like Netflix, where you could shoot it yourself, and then Netflix will give you money for what you bring them, and you still own it. Like, I don't own You're Watching Video Music, but I own my content.
Gotcha.
But I don't own that body of work.
Gotcha.
So, you know, according to, you know, what you want to do, you know, and how you want to do it. You know, like, I remember having a conversation with another director that I knew, and he said that Showtime is a high profile channel in comparison to Netflix. You'll reach more people with Netflix, but it's looked at in Hollywood as a much more high profile situation.
Makes a lot of sense, because Showtime is one of the original Showtime, Cinemax, HBO. It's one of the original big three channels, which makes sense. So what's next for you in this film world? Because I'm pretty sure you know what? You tell me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Belly supposed to be your movie? Let me say why I tell you. Let me tell you why I asked this.
That's interesting.
Here's why I say this. Because Hype Williams come from you.
Yeah.
And a long time ago on Video Music Box, you told Nas you want to shoot a movie with him in it.
Yeah, you're right.
And then out of nowhere, you was like, I want to shoot a movie and I want you to star in the movie. This is a long time ago. Then out of nowhere, I seen Belly with somebody who I know come from your camp, and Nas is acting. I'm like, this is supposed to be what Ralph and Nas was supposed to do. You never looked at it like that?
Nah, I didn't. But you're a historian, so I respect that you picked that
You
up.
Remember when you said that, right? You said, I want to shoot a movie with you.
I remember, that's interesting that you picked that up. Yeah, you know, and that's that I probably did.
Yeah, you definitely was like, I want to shoot a movie with you. Yeah. So if we wanted to see historical, old vintage Video Music Box, is there any way we can see that now? Didn't you have some stuff on YouTube at one point?
We do have some stuff, but not the shows.
Okay.
We're probably gonna do something in the 2022 that's gonna be accompanying what is on Showtime already. Because there was that documentary that's out now could have been 3 hours long. And I think that, you know, Showtime and Mass Appeal realized, like, wait a minute, you know, there's more to this. We didn't even touch the, you know.
Pretty sure.
Right here. And so, but I do want to make sure that it's available to stream, you know, because people can't stream it right now. And people, you know, they got the boxes, and they're looking for it, they can't find it. Eventually, I'm sure it will pop up. But we want to make it available to more people, because we want young people to know, like, this is what was going on. You know, this is the history. It's not about, you know, being fly and being Hollywood. It's about people learning from this, and, you know, and getting something out of it. And whoever's going to be the next Ralph McDaniels, or the next, you know, whoever is can pick up on it and be the next dude or girl.
One time I think when I first met you, because you remember every time I see you, I always do this, I always bow to you. I remember you told me, yo, I like that you spoke up for Troy Ave. I like that. And I remember when you said that to me, you was like, you know, I'm glad that you in the culture. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad. And I remember saying, nobody can't tell me nothing now. I just got the ultimate cosign from the father of all what we're doing. Why you and how are you so humble?
I think that's just the way I came up. You know, I came up, you know, on those blocks. You know, we respect everybody, you know, because you don't know who's going to be who. You know, we was all little kids at one time. You know, I wasn't a director. You know, my friend wasn't a killer. You know, this other girl wasn't a drug dealer. We all didn't know who was going to be who. But, you know, so we respect each other from that perspective. And, you know, and that's it, you know, and that, you know, we, you know, you don't ever know, you know, I don't know when Nas walks up to me who he's going to be. I don't know when Hov walks up to me who he's going to be. You couldn't tell me that Hov is going to be a billionaire. You couldn't tell me that, you know, like, who knew? You know, Diddy was the stage manager, you know, at, you know, when we was doing Harlem Week in the 80s, you know.
Wow.
And telling us who the next act was, you know. Who knew?
Dancing in the back of Father MC videos.
Yeah,
Treat him like
he was doing whatever he could to figure it out, to get to that point. And then once he got that lane, he ran with it, and Diddy in the documentary is great because he just talks like, I just reminded him of just that period, and he just needed to hear that. I think,
we always, man, that's an era, man, that I don't think we'll ever forget, because again, I remember we had beef with Decepticons. You know how big Decepticons was in Brooklyn and New York, period. And we would fight them every day. And it's like, yo, what time is it? Yo, VMB going on. Yo, F these dudes. Yo, let's bounce. You know what I'm saying? Yo, let's go watch VMB. For you, I know you get this because I get this. Is it people who say to you, yo, Ralph, man, you're supposed to be bigger than what you are, man. You're supposed to have this, that. How do you answer those people? Because I know for me, I got my answers, but I know you hear that all the time. Ralph McDaniels, yo, you the father. That's supposed to be you up there. How do you answer those people?
All in God's time. The man above is in control. I'm happy with my life. There's a lot of people that are not here at all that were important, that didn't make it for whatever reasons, I think when we did the screening last week, we had a small screening, and it kind of all came to me like, this is not just my story. This is for all those people's story. The ones that didn't get the recognition at all, that don't have a documentary on Showtime. Mm-hmm. This is for all of those people that, may never get that, and I'm put in that position to channel that energy out to the world. And it's not just about me. It's about all of those people too.
How did you get past a lot of the 2 Live Crew stuff? Because you broke a lot of that stuff too. We never heard of 2 Live Crew. And us in New York, and me and my comrade Blizz did a show about, did the New York arrogance lead to the demise of our hip hop culture? Because you remember, we would be like, yo, that's whack, that's whack, that's whack. We wasn't giving nothing a chance. How did you?
No, once you travel to different places, and when I was in Miami and I heard Miami bass music and I saw the way the kids was reacting to it, I knew it was hot. When I was in LA and I heard, NWA and I heard Eazy-E and I heard Ice-T, and I was like, okay, this is what's popping over here. When I was in Detroit, whatever was popping in those areas, because we was traveling to these places doing videos. And that's when I saw that every city had their own scene. Atlanta had their own scene. Houston had their own scene, but that's why I started playing that music here, because it was like I was traveling and showing it back. Like I remember I told Raekwon he was in like Russia, and he had posted up this long video of him walking around in Russia. I said, yo, that's important because a kid in Staten Island needs to see a black man walking around in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I remember
I gotta go, but we can maybe we can.
No. Listen. What you gave me is good enough. This ain't going to be the last time I'm gonna chop it up with you. I think we got a lot out there. Just 2 things I want you to plug before you go. Let them know where they can see Video Music Box Thursday night. You said Thursday and Saturday night?
Yes.
Yeah. What's the channels in New York City?
If you're in New York City, you can watch Video Music Box on channel 25 or 22, according to what your cable is. 12 midnight on Saturday nights, and Thursday late night into Friday morning, 2:30 a.m. Or follow us at videomusicbox.com. You want to give to the collection, that's our nonprofit. It's videomusicboxcollection.org. And that's where we take all that money and put it into preserving and archiving and digitizing these 30,000 hours of content.
And the documentary is called?
The documentary is called You're Watching Video Music Box, and it's currently playing on Showtime, and it's there. You just type in You're Watching Video Music Box, and it should come right up.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure you're getting. Oh, and shout out to Kev Lawrence for facilitating this. And did you know Jadana was my cousin?
No,
Jadana's my cousin.
Oh, that's my heart.
That's serious. That is my blood cousin. That is my cousin. That is my cousin, my blood cousin. Yes, we are.
How Jadana? There's no me.
Yeah. Jadana, because I remember he used to be like, Jadana works for Ralph McDaniels. I'd be like, so where's she at? But she was in the Bronx. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's my cousin. That's my blood cousin. Yep, that's my. Yeah. I just told Kev that today. He was like, wow, I didn't even understand. I didn't even know that. Yeah, that's my cousin. That's my cousin. So every time she sees stuff, she'll be like, my Video Music Box family. You know what I'm saying? My Video Music Box family.
Man, that's the heart.
Yeah.
That's the heart
So
right
Ralph,
there.
man, I it's nothing I can say to tell you how much I appreciate you. But I'm thankful that you documented and you did what you did for our culture, and you birthed so many of us. And I hope what I'm doing, you proud of what I'm doing, because every time I do something, I always have you in mind. That's why I do keep my integrity sometimes. 'Cause I'm like,
Yes.
Ralph wouldn't do that. Ralph wouldn't do that. Ralph, you know, it ain't Ralph though. You know what I'm saying? For real. So it makes sense now.
Hey, look, man, I watch you. You know, I remember there's another guy who has a channel, and he's you know, he's been reprimanded quite a few times, and I had to reprimand him a couple of times because he used to show kids fighting after school on his channel and stuff. And I was like, yo, bro, you know, I like what you do, but with the hip hop stuff, you know, at that time it was fair. And I said, but that kids fighting after school, kids get killed every day. You're not from our culture, bro. You can't do that. And, you know, and he was like, all right, you know, and then he stopped doing it after that, you know, and, you know, he's got himself in trouble a couple of times, you know, he's still out there, but, you know, I was like, you got to care about the kids. And if you're not from the culture and you don't see it, a kid bleeding, kid face, you know, cut up, and, you know, you're not with us. So you with us or you're not. So, you know, it's important. And I've never seen anything like that on your channel.
Never.
You know,
we don't do that.
You know,
we talk about the culture a lot. We talk about our people, and we try to preserve what it was and what's to come, because what to come is bigger sometimes than what it was, because that's gone. But we got to take from that and move forward. You know what I'm saying? So again, I thank you for all of you've done, and I appreciate you. And I'm going to make sure the audience, my audience, go and watch this documentary and start watching Video Music Box. Again, you got merch on Twitter. You're at Video Music Box.
Yes.
And Instagram. And Instagram, right?
And Instagram and Twitter. Yeah.
Twitter at Video Music Box. So, Ralph, as I always do, thank you for coming through, blessing my platform. And
yes,
I will build with you later on.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man.
Yes.
Thank you for everybody who's tuning in too.
Thank you. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah, y'all. So y'all know I'm a little hype right now. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know I'm really hype and gas because somebody's off, well, not off the bucket list because he'll be back on here. But that's something that I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? That's something that I really wanted to do. And I'm glad that I was able to interview Ralph McDaniels at a time where he has a big project out, you know, and hopefully the interview took y'all back memory lane. I wanted to get so much in, but when you have an allotted time, you got to get what you could get in when you could get it in. And also, as you know, these are not scripted questions. There is no, I can say it's a format to my interviews, but there's no script. Sometimes when I see people do interviews and they be like this, we don't do that. You know what I'm saying? We really do it from the heart, and we speak from, you know, if you was there in the culture or you grew up in the culture, then you there. So this is very important for everybody to like this video. This is very important for people to share this video. This is very big, and if people love the culture, people love you know, what we doing here, this is very important. And I don't think y'all know what this dude mean to me. Like I said, if you watch me on Drink Champs, I shouted him out because it was important that I let Ralph know what he means to me, especially being in this space, a seat that he created for all of us. Not in the sense of podcasting, but just media, period. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to y'all for chilling with me tonight. Yeah, I get to go work out. We here early. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to y'all. So without any further ado, I am Doggie Diamonds, and I will catch y'all tomorrow. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all night. Peace.